If you've ever struggled with depression, identity, or loss, me too.
So, Rebekah, where did your story begin?
My story began in high school. I was normal high school cheerleader, student council, kind of the typical person you think you'd see. And I dealt with a lot of emotions that I didn't really know were not the normal. I had a lot of depression, anxiety that I didn't quite know where to channel it. And I began getting into relationships that weren't the best, but they filled a void inside of me with what I thought was love, with what I thought was somebody caring for me. And I began to just, really get down on myself. And whenever I wanted to feel good about myself, I just thought that was through a guy or through somebody telling me something nice. I went through a lot of eating disorders, putting myself down, and I never really worked on myself. I wanted to be valued. I wanted to be loved, and I didn't know that I could have that love through so many different outlets, through my family, through my friends, through church groups, through so many different places. And I found that through a guy. I found that I felt valued, I felt pretty, I felt loved, or so what I thought was love, through a guy. And I allowed myself to find my identity through him and through these emotions that I was feeling. And I kind of just buried everything and just allowed this relationship to just take over. After high school, I never worked on myself through anything. I carried with me that depression. I carried the anxiety, the self-doubt, the hatred towards myself, and I carried that with me through relationships. I got into another relationship that was abusive, and I didn't know it was abusive. It was emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and soon after, through college, I was in physically abusive relationships. But the only thing I thought of was, you know what, he loves me. I'm feeling that certain void in my heart. So soon after that, after those relationships dwindled away into young adulthood, I met a guy, and I had known him my whole life. And I thought, we fell in love, and there was just still something missing. And so we decided that we were going to start a family because, having a kid would just fill everything. We got pregnant, and I didn't feel depressed. I didn't feel that anxiety, so it must be gone, right? And went to the first ultrasound, and I had lost that baby. And I was broken. I didn't quite know how to cope. And so it went through a lot of struggle. And I thought to feel that struggle, maybe trying again and replacing that loss, replacing that emptiness, fill that void again. And so we did. We conceived again, and this time with 2 twin boys. And about 14 weeks into my pregnancy, we lost them too. So there I was again with all my loss, with all my depression, with all my self-doubt, and it all came back, and I did not know how to deal with it. I wanted all the pain to be over with. Everything I had went through from high school till now, it had never been fixed. I had just built all this on top of each other, one thing after another. One night I decided that was it. I was done. Nothing was filling this emptiness inside of me, and I decided to take a bunch of pills. Luckily, I just heard a voice telling me, this is not it. This is not the end for you. My mom took me to the hospital, and the first few nights in the hospital were the scariest nights of my life. I had realized what I had just done. I had realized everything up to this moment had brought me here. There was other people there experiencing loss, experiencing grief. They were in the same boat as me, and I, for once, didn't feel quite so alone. I was able to open up and share my story. The counselors there were great. They showed me that I wasn't alone, as well as the other people there. And I was able to realize that I was taking the first step to healing.